All right, so tonight's obviously about mistakes. So what was your biggest mistake and what did you learn from it?
I think my biggest mistake was after 99. I was a bit cocky and everything was coming pretty easy in terms of clients coming on and whatever, and the grass was always pretty green, and it was sort of like not planning for the future. Just, being pretty blasé around that kind of stuff. It was a stupid mistake. We could have planned a lot better or ran that business a lot better, marketing partners.
So that would be financially as well? And
just financially, yeah, just like consulting generally is a feast or famine kind of thing anyway, to be honest. But all the clients I was working with were on retainer, so it was very good until starting to wind it down, starting to think about, like if one client leaves or one does whatever, I'm just not planning for that kind of stuff, to be honest.
Yeah, so maybe looking at, as you said, people's financial literacy as well, and understanding what your top 20% of your vendors are looking like, and if one of those drops off, and what impact that's going to have.
It's easy to be cocky when, just clients keep coming and knocking on your door and offering you an extra 10 grand a month or whatever, or, just happens anyway. There was a big aura around, 99 Designs at the time, and it was pretty easy to get reputation just for, having done some relatively good stuff. We did some cool things there. I was just stupid,
But in terms of when things actually go wrong for you, how do you deal with it? Are you somebody that dives into it head on? Are you somebody that needs a little bit of time away and come back to it? How do you tackle these big problems?
There's been times I've done both of those, to be honest. I'm generally pretty upfront and head on, but there's been times where I stick my head in the sand and ignore it, to be frank. I've always been an optimist. It's probably my biggest problem. I always assume I'll fix it or whatever will happen versus holy shit, the sky's falling, and fix it. So I guess that's probably a fault and a positive in my character, just being an optimist.
So thinking about the biggest mistakes then, and you talked a little bit about the personal life and some of the things that go on there. Are you now somebody who thinks, okay, well, people have got to be doing these long hours? Are you an advocate for people thinking, okay, work smarter, work less hours? That
I'm the exact opposite. Work as many hours as it takes you to get the job done.
Yeah.
Basil couldn't speak to this, but if it took Basil 8 hours a week to do his job, that'd be fine. If that's what we've got to do and deliver, that's fine. I think I learnt, and that's another mistake to talk about as well. I learnt by crushing my own soul by working 20 hours a day, that it doesn't matter. There's always more stuff to do tomorrow. There's always another email that's going to come in. There's always another task. There's another whatever that's going to happen. So that was actually what taught me to have work-life balance. My wife hates it. She thinks I'm lazy. She thinks because I sort of can shut off and just not decide to do it. But I had to learn that very hard lesson, and just had literally learned the hard way that it's not. There's always more. There's always more to do. So you just have to make a decision.
So do you have certain types of rituals or habits that you put in place to get that balance? Obviously it's taken a lot of years to probably build up that ability to do that, but what's some of the easy things people can implement in their lives?
Look, I think it's just picking something you get done in a day, or a week or whatever, and just having a certain amount of stuff you want to do and not just always looking for more to do, like having a set goal you want to achieve, not being too hard on yourself in terms of what that is. I think Gary Vee talks a lot about, there's always more, there's always another 50 years, you're 20, what's going to happen if you're 24 and you haven't made your first $10 million or whatever. That mentality of it takes time, work a bit slower, work a bit, bit smarter. To me, I think just having that mentality,
it can't be great for your mental health as well, just sort of running yourself.
There's a whole different topic in terms of mental health at the moment with founders. It's something 60-something% of founders have mental health problems. In Victoria was the latest snapshot. I think I remember hearing that was the launch, the startup Vic mental. There was a snapshot got put out this year sometime. That's what I mean. There's always pressure. There's always everything's measured. Everything's about shipping code or launching a product or doing whatever, and just taking the time to actually have a life as well. I think is important. Realizing that there's more to life than work.
Do you try and stress that to the people that you're working with now? So these new businesses, are you having these open conversations with people that are around that?
Yes, is the very straightforward answer. Yeah, we're working on. We're thinking of a program at the moment which would focus on people's mental health, and just figuring out how we can do that, or how we'd help them, or who we'd partner with, or whatever. We're just trying to figure some of these bigger, more structural issues out. Everyone's trying to help in some way. But we're sort of trying to figure out what we could do to help from that perspective. Even things like childcare, trying to figure out how to mums and dads can go do work. How we can get those people re-engaged in the workforce, or there's some things like that just would make a big difference, which is coming online now from what I hear, just in terms of people's stress levels.
Yeah. So Basil, before we put it out to the audience, have you got any other questions?
Just taking a bit of a different tack. So in terms of using digital, to grow your customer base, what's been the most challenging company to work for? Biggest challenge?
The biggest challenge is the ones that don't really have a point of difference. You're trying to polish a turd, effectively. What's the difference? They've got no marketing point of view. They're an e-commerce company that sells drink bottles. Great. How do you make you can't pretend they're something that they're not. So, but back in the day, having a lot of small business customers was hard, where it's their business and they're super involved in it, and it's sort of like, well, how do I market this thing? They're the hard ones, I think, when there's no. And I started getting very selective around who I work with. Where the disruptive thing came in, was they can give you free rein to do whatever you want. We don't care what language you use. We don't care who we're targeting. We don't care how you do it. We don't care what little guerrilla campaigns you do. It's just the monotonous stuff was the hardest thing for me. No point of difference is almost impossible to market, in my opinion. Plenty of people do it really well. There's people that are very good technical marketers that will have an amazing lead funnel and a great process to doing a Facebook campaign or whatever. That's not me. It's the creative aspect of the problem solving is what I'm interested in.
It's just one more, just before we throw it out. What was your most rewarding moment throughout your career? What was the highlight so far?
Working at MYOB, of course, Basil.
What's success mean to you? Is it a successful exit? What is it?
It's never been I've never cared about money. And once again, much to my wife's dismay, I've never cared about money. It's never been a goal for me. It's always, it's been about solving the problems. But the most satisfying thing is probably, if I look back at my fondest memory, it was when we raised a big Series A with 99 Designs. That journey and that success and that just sort of, we did this thing, and that was great in terms of just the good vibe, and working with a bunch of people that all so aligned in just getting stuff done. There was no politics, there was no, no crap. No one was there that didn't want to be there, that wasn't fully committed to stuff. That whole journey was just amazing.
Awesome. Okay, so we're going to put it out to the audience. Anybody got a question for Kristen? Yes, lady at the back there. Yeah. There's nobody else behind you.
Malaysian.
Hi. Well, I have a question. You said you have a child, right?
2.
So what's your tip to what's your one guidance if you want to give your daughter when she grows up, like when she's growing up? What would you tell her?
She can do anything she wants. Anything she wants. The sky's the limit. To be honest, I think a lot of people, and it's changing now, but traditionally there's sort of gender, male, female roles, but what you can or can't do. That she's amazing and I love her no matter what, and she can do whatever she wants in life, and I'll be proud of her.
Just a question about mistakes. What's your favorite mistake, or mistake that actually turned out to be one of the best decisions you ever made?
Sending the wrong email out to a giant database and losing that client because they were a nightmare. So it was great to get rid of them. I did it accidentally, but in hindsight, it was an amazing thing to do just to get rid of them and rip the Band-Aid off. They're a very profitable client, but they would take up 90% of our time all the time. So I completely dicked up an email campaign for them. My own fault. I was too blasé around it. I didn't really check it a couple of times and whatever, and that was the best mistake I've made.
Good question. Gentleman on the far right.
So let's say you want to start a business. What do you think is the best way to raise up capital?
So I wouldn't know because I've never raised money. I've bootstrapped everything, like as in my own things. I've never taken any outside money. If you're going to raise capital, there's 2 ways I see everyone do it. One is do it based off an idea, pre-product, just come up with an idea and try and raise some money because it's a good idea. Or, actually, let me take a step back. Particularly in Melbourne, we've got a very long history of bootstrapping everything. There was never any money sloshing around until very recently when a bunch of pretty big founders got successful exits. They've started angel investing and putting money back in. So there was never really a way to just sort of get money back in the day. You always had to just build a real business from day one. You just literally couldn't do it. No one would get a $500,000 seed round to go and try and build a product. It never happened. So that's when networking is going to come into play with that. That's when you go to, And once again, it's networking, but it's different networking to what these startup events are. You've got to go to knock on people's doors, try and buy someone a coffee, like ask for a mentor, like just one-to-one. It's not like you go to a pitch night and hang out and you're going to talk to some guy in the crowd who's going to give you $100,000. It's that persistent networking and knowing who to talk to, I think is probably the best way I've seen everyone raise that early money. Once you've got a real business, raising money is not hard. Most people I know who've raised real money turn away a lot of people. It's like the money's there once you've proven the business works. But that early money, I think it's relationships more than anything. I mean, unless it's a game-changing idea and like everyone's like, wow, this thing is really Facebook 2.0 or whatever it is, like it's then the money's going to come anyway.
Lady at the back.
How do you understand like no complication is bad complication? Let's say you have a product right now, but you're not very happy about it. Is it better to continue to make the best use of it to just marketing on the previous product, or it's better to start a new pivot, or it's better to do both?
I'd say both probably. Like you don't just throw the baby out with the bathwater and like whatever, like, you know, try and learn something, try and adapt it. But I mean, to be frank, it depends what you've done. Like I've had some very hard chats with people I've met recently where they've spent 2 years building something and you're sort of like, sorry, that was crap. Like, what? I'm sorry that you've spent this money and time doing it, but you know, not those exact words, but like, you know, what, you're better off just starting again. Like, I'm sorry you've had the wrong advice, but start again. These are conversations that happen. But I mean, I'd do both if you can do both. Yeah.
Have you got a product at the minute that you're thinking of?
Yeah, is it specific?
We're building a garbage compactor, but the solution is obviously not the best solution. So we're looking for a pivot. But at the same time, we're thinking instead of just abandoning the whole idea, we can use the existing idea to reach out to more people to see what the problem they actually have, and at the same time looking for another pivot.
Sounds like you know what you're doing, right?
Yeah, it sounds like, yeah, I'm just confirming like, the whole idea.
It's like therapy, this, isn't it? Just
Yeah, it's great.
reflecting back. It's fine.
I'll get the Medicare machine out and we can start building therapy.
Yeah,
That's great.
Awesome.
Anybody else with a question there? Gentlemen, yeah?
My question is, if you had a room full of 16-year-old bright kids, 16-year-old version of yourself, what would your advice be to help to humble them in taking the long path and the long view, as opposed to having the stars in their eyes from hearing, wow, at 16 I can do my own thing, I can leave school. The Steve Jobs kind of story is here in Melbourne right in front of me.
I'd have to say they can do whatever they want at 16. I think now more than ever you can do whatever you want, but humbling them, I'd say, don't be a dick about it. Like, you know, get in there and do something real, or do something that matters, or do something that you're passionate about. Don't just do stuff to be a rock star. Don't do stuff because you see these founders being cool. Because it's, I mean, back when I was doing this, it was all nerds working in this stuff. It wasn't cool. Startups were not cool until, I don't even know how long ago it was, like 5 years ago. Like, everyone thought people were just nerds. Like, it was all developers and a bunch of guys wearing bad jeans and, you know, dark rooms. Like, it's become cool recently. Like, sorry, okay.
Well, yeah, I've been talking to a few 16-year-olds. It's part of the concept of trying to develop myself. And as soon as they hear that there's huge money in it, or there's dollar signs, all of a sudden that becomes a proxy for cool. So it becomes cool as soon as they hear and feel that. And,
unfortunately, it attracts the wrong kind of people when it's all about the money. That's why I said follow your passion. I know, but they're the people that used to go into, you know, venture banking, whatever, you know, into like, you know, stock brokers. The kind of people where they're like, they want to be the show pony, or they want to be an auctioneer at a real estate agent or whatever. Now the money's there. The same kind of people go there, and the genuineness just disappears.
The part that I've been struggling with, so the concept I'm thinking of just very briefly, to give this context, is having presenters such as yourself, presenting to a class of, say, class is the wrong word for it, but a group of, say, 6 to 12 high-achieving 15, 16-year-olds. They've picked their subjects, they've got some idea of what they want to do, and getting them ready for year 11, year 12, where they have to then get in the grind and do it, and just do the work, even though it's kind of boring and not necessarily inspiring. Those VC guys, the investment banking guys, or Big Four consulting, all of those need very high marks. So there's a clear link between do hard work, get good marks, become sexy role X, which is either a proxy for money, money and stuff, whatever it is. Any of the small business entrepreneur guys, like yourself, all of a sudden that link's broken and it becomes 15-year-old kid, just become entrepreneur now. That link of then, hang on, do hard work, do the marks, maybe even do a uni course where you're humbled through the whole process and develop a discipline. Then you can get to do the thing which is cool with a great perspective and discipline. Is that actually a pathway that you believe has some merit to it, And it sounds like from what you were saying earlier, your key learning was actually to be more disciplined in the private entrepreneurial path as young as I could.
It would have helped me. I don't know if it's right for everyone. I also know a few people, I mean, because would I have done the same things? Would I have had the same ideas if it was all about the process or the discipline? I mean, some of the best people I know have no discipline and no rules and no anything, and they're just these crazy ideas guys who start businesses and then hire CEOs and palm them off, and that's what they do. That's the whole job. I do know.
16-year-old kid though.
I know. No, I know. I'm saying, but you're talking about what they're going to turn into later, though, right? That's the point. Like they're 16, you're trying to build these ground rules and this experience, and yeah, like
the main mechanism through which they can develop at that stage is doing the work.
It's not a bad idea. Trust me. It sounds like a good thing to happen. But once again, how do you inspire them? Like people coming in and talking like someone that's entrepreneurial.
Not everybody has to go down the same path.
Yeah, I guess it's maybe
it's down to the individual.
Maybe it's the lack of structure that makes these people who they are, right? Maybe that's a different way of thinking. I do know someone else working on something similar at the moment, though, in terms of people giving back their time to that age of student. So it's an idea that's actively being floated at the moment.
It's a big enough market. There's room for probably.
Oh no, totally. I'm saying
maybe you two can chat afterwards.
Yeah.
Take that one offline at the end, and maybe
Yeah.
you two can have a little chat. I think that
yeah,
could
man,
be
I'm around. It's
quite beneficial. That sounds good. Lady at the front here.
So I have a question. What are you most proud of?
most proud of. I'm just proud of my family, and not even in terms of work. I just love my family and like the life we've built, and that kind of stuff to me is the stuff I care about. It's I care about the fact I can spend weekends with them and hang out, and yeah, that's my biggest achievement is my family. To be honest, business-wise, business is business. I mean, it might sound blasé, but it's never been a way to like, yes, I'm going to achieve this. I've always worked so I can do the other stuff. Really, that's just the way I'm built.
Work to live.
Yeah, work to live, not live to work. Yeah.
Yeah. And Sapple at the front there.
Just bring it back to the business books. Is it crucial, do you think, to be successful in business to actually make mistakes?
Totally. Like, yeah, absolutely. The most important things I've ever learnt were the things I've screwed up. Really, I think people that go through a more traditional process of their work life sort of failure is not accepted. You go in this like corporate path and you go to a big four or something and it's all high pressure and it's all success and it's all whatever and that's how you get ahead. I just don't think they miss a lot of stuff. I know a lot of people that come out of those kind of environments and jump into doing their own thing and then they come way back down. Whereas all the people I know that just were out there mucking things up and testing things out and whatever, they've sort of got this different experience, this different resilience, I guess you could call it. So I mean, to me, I think it's important. A lot of partners at Deloitte will probably say the opposite thing. They've never done this and they've always been a winner and whatever else. And I don't know, but to me, I think that's where I've learned the most from is screwing things up, to be honest.
So can you give us 3 takeaways that you've learned from a screw up?
Own up to it. Like, just admit you've screwed it up. Like, put your hand up and say, that was me. Whatever the consequences are. Don't be too depressed or let down about it. People screw up. It happens. It's part of life. However big the screw up is, it doesn't matter. And just tell someone, have someone to talk to about it, really. Like whether it's a mentor or your wife or your parents or whatever, just talk it through. Like you're not alone. These things happen. Everyone's done it. Yeah.
Yeah. Talking about mentors, Paul, it kind of pops up quite often, doesn't it, week to week? So what's your views on mentors? Serpil's asked this question before, but we always like to get a bit of an opinion on it. And in terms of, should people be looking for paid mentors, or is it a case of, accessing things for free? Where do you see the most value in that?
So I've never had a mentor. I've had some people I respect a lot, never a formal mentor. It's always been more of a peer relationship with these people I've known, so I'm not sure I'm the best person to say that. I don't know. Paid mentors, I think, is a weird thing to me. I don't know why you'd pay. I mean, I get that you need access to some of these people. I would never even think about doing it. I think the better model is if a mentor really believes in a project you're working on, that you give them some equity eventually if they add enough value. To me, I think that's a better model. I mean, it's effectively a paid mentor, but a different way rather than someone billing you $200 an hour for a coffee once a week. That being said, I don't know, some people have done that path and have very good things to say about it. So
yeah, we're quite split with the founders that are on,
it seems a
aren't we?
bit disingenuous to me to pay for whatever. But that being said, they're important people and their time's worth money. So, you know, there's both arguments. Unfortunately, I'm on the fence. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't pay a mentor. But I know some people, I've heard stories of who've got some really good results and they connect with some really high profile people, and whether it's the profile of these high profile people that makes them successful, like as in they're associated with someone who's famous, or whether they're learning stuff, I don't know where the benefit comes from. Because, you know, hey, Richard Branson's my mentor or something, like, yeah, great, like, what have you learned from him? Versus, you know, learning real stuff from someone who's very genuine but may not have as big a profile, but gives their time for free. I've seen both sides work. I'm not sure which part of it's working, but yeah.
Awesome. Cool. Any other questions out there? Lydia at the back again?
Yeah. So if there's someone new to the startup, and there are two options, digital marketing and product management, and there is only one area that you can choose to be especially specialized at, and first, which one would you choose?
Digital marketing.
Digital marketing. Okay. Yes.
But I'm a marketing guy, so that's my background. I love marketing.
Okay.
That's everything else I've done. Every person I've ever hired was to facilitate me being able to do cool marketing stuff.
Yes.
Yeah. So you're always going to get that answer from a marketing guy.
Yes. Great. Thank you.
So you were looking to be reinforced there. That's great. Awesome. Yeah.
Cool. So we're coming towards the end of this evening, so we have got space for maybe one or two other questions.
Someone asked Basil a question. Come on.
Yeah.
He's up here.
Basil's up here. Anybody got a question for Basil, maybe about his role at MyOb or anything else like that?
How did you get into this space?
How did I get into this space? By luck, actually. So I was marketing. I started as an intern at MYB in marketing, just through Monash, and then I was marketing coordinator sort of in my second year. Went from grad to coordinator and was sort of thrown around to a few different departments. And then I just got the chance late 2017 to start working with Kristen and work in the startup space, and I immediately loved it. It was a new area for me, so there was a lot to learn. There still is a lot to learn. But I just love the flexibility and the fact that we actually are making a difference. And we've got the freedom to go and execute on, you know, doing good things within the community. So that's I just got in. It was just through luck, really. Yeah, and I've stuck with it for the last year.
Awesome. And you've done the hard yards by the sound of it.
Done the hard yards, so
stuck at it, and
looking forward to next year.
Yeah, awesome. Gentleman on the right hand side again.
What are your plans for the future?
Me? I don't know.
Yes, Basil.
Well, it could be you. It could be you. I haven't thought too deeply about it. I'd like to. I see myself working in marketing, rising the ranks and trying to learn as much as I can. But yeah, sticking within marketing. Don't know which. I think I sort of see myself as a bit of a generalist rather than a digital guy. Or yeah, I just like to be a generalist gun, really. Yeah.
I think Basil has been exposed to a whole bunch of cool stuff, and he's really waiting to jump in and do some of it as well.
Yeah,
that's the thing I get, like all this cool digital stuff and marketing automation and startups, whatever. Basil like gets to talk to all these people doing it. I think from what you've told me, you'd love to want to jump in and start doing some stuff.
The events
more
are great.
hands-on.
Yeah, the networking is fun. I get to hear a lot of cool stories from different founders, which is great on a weekly basis. But yeah, like Kristen mentioned, like I want to get in, start doing things, start creating campaigns, and be a bit more hands-on, a bit more strategic.
Awesome. Yeah. So guys, I think we're going to leave it there for this evening. So thank you very much for your attendance, but can we have a round of applause for Kristen Holden of MyOb? Basil Adamu of MyOb. Yeah.